So let's start today's session on Redux. So anyone has any idea, any prior idea for the Redux? What is Redux? Why it is required? Fine. So Redux is something. So you know the state, right? The state of any React component. Now imagine your application has hundreds of components, right? And at the same time, if your application has hundred of component, then how if something changes in one component, then and you want that change to reflect in other components as well. So how that will work? So and say you want to have a global database kind of a thing for all of your components. So in that database, you can insert data, and from that database, you want to show some piece of information to your every component. And you want something like that. If some data changes in the database, your components will automatically re-render or refresh itself to show the live or current data. Okay, so that is something what Redux does by default. So it is a state management library, but mostly it is used in application level. So it is an application state management library. That means think of it, your entire application has a state. Means right now you have seen your component has a state, right? You can store some sort of information in your component, and that data is normally stored in object, okay, as object. And in for Redux, you can think of it like that. In application level, there is a store, or you can clearly think it's kind of a database where you can store data and use the data in other components as well. Okay, so the database is a term which I would not use in this case, but for your simplicity or for your understanding purpose, you can think of it like that. Because whenever you refresh that page, means if you do a control if you hit the refresh button or control R on your keyboard, whenever your page refreshes, that whole data get reset. So there is no persistence for the data. Okay, so that is why I cannot compare it with the database. But yes, so that is it. So we will see it in action. So in today's session, I will show you in live coding, so how Redux works, and why it is important to use Redux in large applications. Okay, so let's get started. So let me give you a quick introduction of Redux. So Redux is mostly used for application state management, like what I have explained just now. Okay, for your entire application state management, we will use Redux. Okay, so Redux maintains the state of an entire application. Okay, which React application you are creating, the clone application that you are creating. So there is one single state of the entire application, which keeps this entire state in a single immutable state tree object, which cannot be changed directly. So you cannot directly change that object. Okay, when something changes, means if some new data is coming and you want to change the state, a new objects get created and it gets replaced to the current state, whatever it is, what is the current object. Means you cannot directly assign a value to the current state object, whereas you create a new object and replace the older one. Okay, it acts like that. And there is another great extension that is available in Google Chrome, that is Redux DevTools extension, which makes it easy to trace when, where, and what is happening and how the application state is changing. Okay, so I will show you what is Redux DevTools and how it helps us to debug, and it helps us to visualize what is there inside this Redux store. All right, so this is a flow chart, but okay, so I will give you a little bit of introduction to the Redux for now, but you may not understand it completely. Do not worry about that. Once I do the coding, then I will again come back to this diagram and I will explain in more detail. Means you will get more understanding once I start with the live coding session. Okay, so what is there? So this whole thing, so you forget about these terms called dispatcher, reducer, state for the time being. This whole rectangular circle is called the store, the application store. okay, where Redux is storing the application state. Fine. Now this store is connected to the views. Views means the component layer, means the component that you have, right now you have created a landing page for your final project, right? That is a view layer. Okay, so what will happen in your view layer? In your view, you will perform certain actions, right? So there can be if say you are implementing a Amazon clone, so for products page there is an add to cart button, right? So whenever someone will press a button, that means it is an action, right? So you have to do something. So whether it is possible that that the user visits your website and clicks the product detail, means the product image, or clicks the product title. Okay, so if once the user clicks the title, you have to show the details of that product, right? That means you have to perform some sort of action. Understanding? So in your view, there are certain components where users can perform certain actions. Is it clear? Actions. Once user clicks any action, okay, it goes to a dispatcher, something called dispatcher. So what is dispatcher and how it looks like? We will see it in few minutes after that, after I start do the live coding. Okay, so the request goes to the dispatcher. Say there is a add to cart button. So once the user clicks the button, it goes to the dispatcher. Okay, now in the dispatcher we can implement whether that request will have some internal API call or not. Okay, so if there is add to cart button, so you can say you are calling an internal API where you are checking the product price, and and then after checking the product price and availability of the product for the given pin code, whether it is deliverable or not, you are adding the item to the cart. Okay, so it can call an external API. Once the API response is there, then the dispatcher calls the API response is there, and then it updates the data in the reducer. Okay, so what is reducer? I will come back to that part later. Then from the reducer, what it does, it updates the state, the entire state of the application. Okay, so how we will define the state of the application, how we will define the reducer, I will talk about that. All right, if something changes in this state, this application state, these views will get updated automatically. Okay, I will show you how it works. So how the views is getting updated automatically, I will show that part to you. Okay, so is it fine? So in our application we have views. If from views we can perform certain actions. Okay, when we perform certain actions, it goes to the Redux's dispatcher. The dispatcher can call, in the dispatcher implementation we can call an API, but this part is optional. If it is not required, then from the dispatcher we can, the response goes to the reducers. Okay, from reducers, reducer updates the state of the application, and when the state application state get updated, it updates the view automatically, asynchronously. Okay, it's time to show you how it works. Okay, so let's create a new project. So you remember that we created that blog API, so we will use that API, blog application. So React Redux blog application. Okay, so the application is ready. Inside this application, we will install few packages. Yarn add. So first we will have to add Redux. So Redux is something which is a state management library, but you can use Redux in other non-React project as well. If you want, you can use Redux in Vue.js project. If you want, you can use Redux in Angular project or in React Native application. So that is why Redux is something which is not tightly coupled with React. Okay, so there is a separate library called React Redux, which helps us to write Redux logic inside React, or it helps us to it gives us some useful functions through which we can use these Redux state management library in our React project. And another library is required. This is called Redux Thunk. So these are a few supporting libraries which we need. Sorry, another package I missed, yarn add Redux DevTools extension. So what it does, it allows us to explore this Redux in our Chrome browser's extension. Okay, so how that works, I will show you. So our packages are installed properly. Now let's start the application by using the yarn start. So let's open that code in editor. So our application is finally ready. Okay, so I will remove these unnecessary files from here. App.js, index CSS, index.js. We don't need these things, so I will remove. A logo done from app.js. We will remove this logo and application CSS. Okay, so we will add one header tag, Redux powered block. Okay, and yes, it is coming. All right, so here inside this src folder, we will create a new folder called, Redux store. Okay, and inside that we will create one file called store.js. Okay, so in this file we will define our store. How we will do that? So for that we need to include few libraries. So this is something what I'm doing it here is a one-time setup. So you have to do this thing one time in your application. This is not something you will do it every day. Okay, so these are the few basic things which I have imported from Redux. First, there is an option called create store. Then there is something called combine reducers, and there is something called apply middleware. So what are those? I will explain. Okay, and then I have imported another thing called compose with DevTools from this Redux DevTools extension. And then after that, I have imported Thunk. Okay, so what are these things? I will explain in a bit. Okay, so now let's define a new store. So our import part is ready. Now we have to define a store. To define a store, we will define a constant called store, and we will use this create store function. So in this create store function, we will use this combine reducers method. So just stick with me. So I will explain every single bit of these things after I complete this initial setup. Then we have to use this compose with DevTools option, and there we will use apply middleware. That part is ready, and we have to export this store. Okay, and there we will import reducers, which we will create just now. So we will create another file here called posts. Inside that post, I will create another folder called reducers. Inside this reducer, we will create one new file called post.js. I will import this file, import post reducer from posts reducers post. Okay, so what is a reducer? I will explain in a bit. So just stay with me, just watch the code what I am doing here. Okay, so initial state definition is ready. After that, we have to define this post. Now let me explain what is a reducer. Okay, so reducer is something, say you have an entire application called you are creating an Amazon clone. Okay, now inside this Amazon clone application, there are different modules, right, or different entities. Like there is a product entity, there is a user entity, there is an account entity, there is an order entity, right, there is a customer entity. So every entity is, you can consider it as a reducer. This inside this store, you can add multiple reducers. Means here say this is a blog application, say this one has a post reducer. Similarly, every post can have comments, so we can have the comments reducer. Okay, comments reducer. Similarly, we can say the blog application can have the like count, or it can have the account, user account, right? So similarly, you can have the accounts reducer. So every entity you can think of it as a reducer. Okay. And using this combined reducers method, you are adding multiple reducers and making it available to the global application store. Okay, so I will show you one example of one application. This is our Scout application. So that is app.scoutlive.in. So I installed the Redux DevTools extension, right? So you can remember here in this line, I have installed this Compose with DevTools. Okay, so what it does, it makes us, it allows us to explore what is inside this Redux state. So what it added, so I have installed this Redux DevTools extension in my Chrome browser. So you can just go to the Chrome's developer, the Chrome extension store. From there you can install this extension. Okay, so what it enables, it adds this Redux tab in your inspect element tool. Okay, so inside this Redux tab, you just go to this state. There you'll be able to explore all the reducers you have in your application. Okay, so as you can see, there are these many reducers are already present inside application. Like there is a test reducer, there is a practice reducer. So what is inside that, so I will come to that part later. There is a subjects reducer, there is a dashboard reducer. Okay, there is a user reducer, then there is a skill reducer, there is an interest reducer. Okay, and every reducer has some certain attributes. This is something which is called the initial state for every reducer. Okay, that means whenever a reducers get created, there we have to define one initial state. Means what is the initial values for that, for the attributes for the reducer. Okay, and using this combined reducers method, so we are binding all of these reducers together and making it available to our global application store. So now let's go into the implementation of this post reducer. So as you have, I have already shown you that what is in the inside a reducer, there are some certain default values. Okay, some default attributes. The values may be something called null or empty array or empty object, but there are some default attributes. So that is something which we have to define inside this post.js. So this is our post reducer. Okay, also you can name this, if you want to simplify this thing, you can also name it as post reducer. Okay, so similarly you have to update the import here as well, or it's the posts reducer. And yes, posts reducer. Okay, so let's go inside this post reducer and let's define. So what is the initial state? So here I will write export default function. No, not the default one, but I will export this function called post reducer. Okay, and here I have to pass the initial state. Okay, so initial state, I'm saying the post reducer should have the following attributes called all is something, is an empty array, is fetching, is error, false, and after that there it gives us access to the action. So this is the initial state. I have defined the initial state here, and it gives us something called action. So action is something which I have shown here in the diagram. Okay, so what is action? So I will come to that part. So here what this thing, this reducer does, it responds to the action. Say what happens in the, let me go back to the diagram once again. So from the view layer, so in your cart, say if you are building a cart application, there is an add to cart option, right? So there is a delete from cart option, right? Remove from cart, or there is, you can also update the quantities for the items. So these are called actions, means update cart, or you can say there is another action called add to cart, remove from cart. So these are called actions. And here inside this reducer definition, for every action we have to define what should be what kind of data should be present for every action. I will add a switch case here. So every action has a type. So what is that, and what is the action type? This is nothing but a simple string. Okay, so in case say the action type post fetch request, okay, means whenever we are initiating a request, say we are making a network call from here. So again, I will go back to my diagram. Say if I'm creating the blog application, so inside my blog application, I want to show the list of posts at the very initial, on the first load itself. Okay. So then in that action, I have to make an API call. Okay. And when the API call starts, then I want to show a loader, say loading state. And whenever that API call finishes, I want to hide the loading state. I want to show the data. Okay. So just for the time being, I'm just showing you one state, the one action type called post fetch request, or post fetch request. So I'm fetching multiple posts together. Okay. So inside that, I have to return something. Here I'm returning state and is fetching to true. So whenever and there should be a default case, because as I'm writing a switch case. Okay, so I have to give a default return to state. Okay, so similarly, so there I will define few other actions as well, called post fetch request, success, and the failure. So what happens whenever we are requesting for a post, I'm setting the is fetching to true. Whenever the success comes, I do not want to show the loader. Okay, so that's why I would made it false. And if there is some error, I want to show the is fetching to false, and I want to show an error dialog. So that's why I would keep the is error to true. Okay, and I will change few other values as well, but for the time being, I will just export these few things. All right, so a reducer function is ready. So now don't get confused with what I'm writing right now, because once the whole thing is complete, then I will explain it once again. Okay, so just stay with me for the time being. Okay, so our reducer function is ready. So this is just a basic function where there are different switch cases. What is there inside the switch case? Just forget about it. And I have just included that reducer inside the combined reducers method. And here I have created my store. So this store is something which I have to attach with my React application. So which is not there, means I have created this folder, but it is not included in our primary application. Okay, so how we would do that? So inside our app.js, no, we will add it inside our index.js. Okay, so inside our index.js file, we will import something called provider from the React Redux library. Okay, and again we will import the store that we have created. We will import that part as well. Import store from the Redux store.js. Okay, and we will use this provider. I will replace this strict mode with the provider. Okay, and what it does, the provider method, it injects the Redux state in our entire application. So this provider, it makes this whole state available to our the root of the React application. So how we will do that? So this takes one prop that is called store, and here we will pass this store object. Okay, so once I save it, now let's go back to our browser. Okay, and there is an error which I have got. So it is saying the default export default was not found in the posts reducer. Okay, from the post reducer, I have exported only one thing. That's why it should be our default export. Yes, or I can use it something like this. Yes, it should work now. So now let's go back to our Redux, this developer tool, and check whether our application state is ready or not. And yes, it is, right? So there, if I go to this post, so there I can see one entity is already added to our application state, that is called post, which has three attributes. called all is fetching is error. So what we will keep inside all? So we will make a network call to our Node.js application, which is running in 3001 port, the same we have created few weeks ago. So we will make a network call to this application, okay, to this API, and whatever posts come, we will keep those all of these posts inside this attribute. All right. So our application is now ready. So here I have used the inside this index.js. Again, I'm explaining. I have used the provider from the React Redux. I've imported the store. I have made the store available to our entire application using the provider. And inside this store, you might find this a little bit confusing, but again, I'm saying this thing is a one-time setup. But whenever you will create multiple reducers, you just have to import it, and you just has to make it available inside the store. Now remember, you can keep this site. In this site, you can keep anything. So like I have created like post, or you can create like blog posts or something like that. Whatever you will do, the same thing will come here. Okay, so inside our state, we will get it as blog post. Okay, so I will again change it back to the simple posts. Okay, so these has this default values. So now, so this setup is little bit complete. Means we have created these two things called reducers and something called states. We have defined our state and our reducers, and this is something which is I have defined the store, and I have connected this whole Redux store to our views. Views means we have connected this thing to our entire application, okay, using the provider. So now the next thing comes, we will create an action. So what is an action? So as I have shown you that to show the list of posts, I have to create an action called something like, say, fetch post, fetch all posts. Okay, that is something which action we have to create. Similarly, for cart application, you can create something like add to cart or remove from cart. These are all called actions. So how we will define the actions? For that, again, I will go back to our Redux store. Inside this posts, I will create another new folder called actions. Okay, so now the posts folder has two subfolders. One is called actions, one is called reducers. So if you have more than one reducer which is related to this posts module, you can keep it here. Okay, so inside these actions, we will create a new action. So we will name it as fetch posts.js. This is a simple function which will do the network call, and then once the data is ready, we will pass the data to this reducer. Okay, the job of this file, this fetch post action, is to inside this action we will define this dispatcher. We will use the dispatcher, then we will make the API call, and after that, using the dispatcher, we will update our reducer. So we will complete this part of puzzle right now. Okay, so let's define a function called export function, say fetch post. Okay, now to fetch a post, we have to add the library, fetch library, right? Axios, right? So let's add Axios again. Let's add Axios to our project. Done. So here we will import Axios from Axios. Done. We have imported Axios. Now here inside this fetch post, what we have to do, we have to use this dispatcher. So inside this action, we have to use this dispatcher to make the API call and later pass the data down to the reducers. Okay, to do that, we have to return one function. So this is an anonymous function we can create, which has access to this dispatch method. Okay, so just stay with me for this part. So let me show you how it works. And here what I will do, I will dispatch one action. So whenever the page loads, I will dispatch an action called post fetch request. Remember, inside this action, inside this reducer, we have handled the switch case handle the case for action type post fetch request. So we are dispatching a similar action post fetch request. So there inside these actions, whenever we are dispatching an action, there can be two things. One is a type of the action, another is a payload. So inside this payload, we can pass any data we want. So it can be an array, it can be an object, anything we can pass inside this action. So here we are dispatching one action of type post fetch request. Okay, so before making the network call, I want the loader to appear. Okay, once the loader appears, then we will make the network call. After that, whenever we get the data, we will again disable the loader, we will show the data there, right? To do that, now initially we have dispatched the loader. Now I will use the axios.get. What we will do is that we will go to our browser, we will copy this URL and we will paste it here. So axios.get, right? And the simple promises for Axios, and then it gives us access to the response. Okay, so we can use this response. We can use this response to pass data to reducer in case of success. And if we catch any error, okay, we have to tell reducer to show error message. And so these are the three cases, right? So if everything goes well, we have to pass down the data back to the reducer. If the things are not so well, we have to show an error message in our browser, right? Now, how we will pass the data to the reducer? Again, we have to dispatch one action. Okay, how to dispatch an action? The same thing, dispatch, but this time the action type would be something called post fetch success. We will dispatch an action called post fetch success, and inside this payload we will pass this response. So usually response has data, means Axios response has data. So we will pass this response to data in the payload. Okay, and if something goes wrong, we will use this action type called post fetch failure. We will dispatch this action. Sorry, I will move this comment to the top. Yes. So we will use this action type called post fetch failure. Inside this payload, I will pass something like, I will pass a message called something went wrong. Now this part is ready. Our export function is ready. Okay. So what we have to do is now we have to go back to our reducer file. Now, as you can see, for every action type, I have just only defined the is fetching property. Now for is success, okay, so I am passing the data right in the payload. So I have to set this data to this all attribute. So in this all attribute, initially it is an empty array, but if whenever the data will come, so it should have all the data, right? So how we will do that? We will do it something like action dot payload. Okay, so as inside payload, I am sending the data. So I am setting the action dot payload to the all, because I'm expecting all of the API call data, means the list of post will come inside here. Okay, so this part is more or less ready, and one last part is there. Okay, if there is an error, then I'm sending a payload called something went wrong. But here we have nothing to set. So here I will add a new property called error message. I will only set this, I will set the error message value initially to null. If there is something wrong, I will set the error message to the action dot payload. Okay, because inside this payload I'm sending this message that something went wrong. Done. Our store setup is 90% complete. So our Redux part is 90% complete, but in our application end, we do not have done yet anything. So we have to use, we have to call this action. We have to call this action to make the API call. This API call will automatically go and it will update our Redux state. Okay. So now let's go back to our application.js. So here inside this function, we have to, our task is to show the data. Okay, our task is to show the data here. We have to call this action called fetch post from here. To do that, we will import one library or from the React Redux library. We will import something called use dispatch from React Redux. We will import another thing called use selector. Okay, what is use selector? Okay, so here I will use this use dispatch. So what is use dispatch? Use dispatch is a hook. So as you can see, there is a description. Okay, it's a hook to access the Redux's dispatch action. Okay, so what will happen? It will help us to dispatch these actions. It will help us to dispatch this fetch post action. To dispatch this action, so we have to import the function here. So import fetch post. It is autofilling properly. Import fetch post from the file, right? Whatever we have defined. Redux store posts action fetch post. Done. Is simple. So now we'll define a constant called dispatch equals use dispatch. Okay, so now to make a network call, we have to use the import React from React, and then we have to use effect. So we will use the use effect hook to make the network call. So inside this use effect, we will dispatch an action. So we will call this function called fetch post. To do that, we will use this dispatch. So inside this dispatch, we will call this fetch post function, and I want to execute this fetch post for one time only. That's why I'm giving an empty array. Okay, so whenever the page will load, it will call the function. Let's save the file. Let's go back to our browser and let's check whether the application is working. Now one by one. Okay, so as you can see, there is a network call that is happening. If I would zoom in a bit here, you can see, right? There is a network call called localhost 3001 post, and it is getting a 200 OK response. And what is there inside response? The same posts are coming from the Node.js application. Done. This part is ready. Now inside the Redux store, yes, it is working, guys. So inside this all, I have all the data. All the post is coming inside the all. Now let's see the power of this tool. Okay, so here on the left hand side, it shows exactly how many actions we have dispatched. Okay, so here how many actions we have dispatched. First, there is a request and then there is a success, because it never encountered this error case, because there is nothing wrong with this endpoint. That is why it has not encountered this dispatch. So initially, whenever we have started the request, it just dispatched this post fetch request. After that, whenever the data came, after that it changed, it dispatched another action of type post fetch success. Okay, and the cool thing is that we can switch to every this state, and we can see what data was there at that time. So if we jump to this state, you can see whenever I am requesting, the all is empty, the is fetching is set to true and is error set to false. Okay, and if we would jump to this success, you can see the is fetching, I have disabled the is fetching, and the data is coming here inside the all attribute. Fine, so that part is ready. Now our application has the data. Okay. So next thing is that we have to use this data. So our application is successfully calling the external API. It is updating the Redux state, and our state has list of all posts here inside that. So the next task is to show the data back in our browser. Okay, that is a pretty simple task, I think. Now, to call the data, if I go inside this reducer method, okay, so here I will export some pieces of information and make it available in our components to use. Okay, so how we will do that? I will export few selectors. The first selector would be get all posts. You can name anything, like you can name, say, get post, you can name get all post, get my post, anything. So what it will do is that from the global state, it will access, so from the global state, it will access this attribute, and from there, from that attribute, means it comes inside the reducer, I am accessing this all attribute here. Okay, so this selector, it has access to the global state. So inside this global state, I have added this post reducer as posts. From this post reducer, I have the all attribute, right? I'm exporting it. So similarly, I can export whether it is fetching. So get is fetching post. Similarly, it has access to the state object, state dot posts dot is fetching. Right. So similarly, we can also do the same thing for the is error, is error. Okay. So for any other attribute, you can do that. Done. So now we will import these selectors inside our component. Okay. Inside any component, you can use this selector to show the data. So what we will do is that we will create a new component here inside this src folder called the posts list.js. Okay, so this is a simple component, const posts list. This is a simple component. So here we will export it as posts list, export default posts list. Here inside this we will return something. I will return a div. Inside that I will have post. Okay, and then import. I will import these things. I will remove this selector from here. Okay, and I will import. Okay, I will import the use selector from React Redux. Okay, and then inside this app.js, I will import this file, this new component, posts list, and here I will show the posts list. Done. It is, I have imported it properly. And if I would again go back to my browser, I can see the component imported successfully here, but it is not showing any post. Okay, to do that, we have to import the selectors that we have defined inside this reducer. Okay, so we will import it something like get all post. Okay, it is giving automatically, so it is giving in suggestions. So get all posts from the post reducer. Similarly, you have other things like whether it is fetching the post or not. Okay, so I've imported these two things here. Now to access the data, we will define a new constant called post. You will use this use selector hook. So this is the hook. Okay, this use selector this use dispatch is a hook that is defined inside this React Redux library, which gives us access to dispatch an action, which gives us access to read value from the global state. Okay, so we will use this use selector hook, and here we will pass this get all post selector what we have. Now let's do a console log for this console log this post, and let's see whether the data is coming inside our component or not. So if we would refresh, initially, as you can see, initially the data was empty, but whenever the data came, the data is coming here inside this array. Similarly, we can also import, we can also do like is fetching, okay, is fetching post. Similar thing we can do. So now we can show something like if is fetching, we can return something like we will return a span called loading. Okay, and if it is not fetching, that means data is ready. We will map through all of this post dot map post h4. Now it should have it should be a div. So whenever we do iterations on React, or for iterations, you have to give a key attribute, okay, because so that React can uniquely identify each iteration. Okay, so this value has to be unique. For every post, I know the ID is unique, so that's why I'm setting the key to the post ID. Okay, so next we will add we will show the post title here. So what are the different attributes there inside post? One is the post title, then the content, and then the author name, right? Title. So I will show the author name in h6, and then inside the paragraph I will show post dot content. Then let's go back to the browser and let's see whether the data is coming or not. I think there is a mistake. I got to return the data. Yes, now it is coming. So again, we have to add some styling to it, but that is something which you can do. So done, right? So we have created our basic Redux store. We have written the reducer, we have created the store, we have written the reducer, we have created an action, and then we have connected this Redux store together with the React component. We have dispatched one action to fetch all posts, and then whenever we have a list of all posts, we have shown the data here inside our browser. Done. Let's recap what we have done. Close all. Done. So first we have added few packages, right? We have added React Redux, we have added Redux DevTools extension, we have added this Redux Thunk. Okay, these are the few packages we have added. So now the very first step is that we have created one store. Okay, so we have created one store. To create a store, we have imported few libraries called create store, combine reducers, and the apply middleware. It is coming directly from the Redux core library. Okay, and then we have imported one tool called Compose with DevTools extension. So what it does, it enables our Redux store to be explorable via the Redux DevTools browser extension. We have created one reducer. Reducer is something like, you can say it is a in your EY, it can be a module, it can be a real world entity. Okay, so and inside this create store method, we have used these combine reducers to combine multiple reducers together inside our application state. So right now we have this post reducer. We can have reducers like comments, users, accounts, something like that. The right hand side value will change accordingly. So we can have these things and it will have all the same values. So now if I would save it, and you will see that actually inside our Redux Dev Tools, we will get all of these things: post, comment, users, though the values are same because on the right hand side I have not changed anything, but you can see on the left hand side. So these keys are something which we are getting: posts, comments, users, accounts, right? So done. And then we have exported this store. Now once the store is ready, to add the store in our React application, so we have to go to our root of the application. So it is in the index.js. So inside this index.js, we have imported this provider method. Okay, so we have imported this provider, you can say, from the React Redux library, and then we have imported the root Redux store. Okay, then after that we have passed, we have defined, we have used this provider to inject our Redux store inside our application. This is how the whole Redux store is available, will be available in all of the child components of this app, this root app.js. Done. So that part is something which we have defined. So now again I will go back to the diagram. So I have defined our store. Okay, means initially you can think I have defined our this state, and we have made it connected to our, we have made it connected to our applications view layer or the app.js. Now it's time to define the actions. So from the views we will create different actions. Like we can for posts module, so we can use this create fetch post action. Similarly, we can create, say, create post.js. Similarly, we can create update post.js. Similarly, we can create delete post.js. And we have to do the similar implementation, whatever we did here, in these corresponding actions. Done. So in these actions, we will define everything. Okay. And for every action we create here, we will catch this action type, and we will see how our application, this post reducer, changes depending on these data. Done. So for this fetch, inside this fetch post, again as I'm doing a network call, I have imported Axios. So now this fetch post, we have to return from, so what it does, that we have to return a function. Okay, so what this function have, it has access to a dispatch. So dispatch is something which gives, which allows us to which allows us to update our application state. Okay, so every dispatch has a type and it can have a payload. So payload part is optional, but the type is mandatory. Okay, so here I have created 3 different action types. First is the post fetch request, success, and failure. Okay, so whenever, before making the network call, I am dispatching this action type called post fetch request. Okay, so what it happens, so inside this post reducer, whenever, now this reducer is a simple function which has some initial value, and it has access to the state, sorry, it has access to the action. So here I have written one switch case implementation. You can also do a if else implementation as well. I have no issue with that. Okay, so whenever this reducer, it detects that there is something which has dispatched something called post fetch request. Remember, if you change the text here, it will not work, right? Because this is a switch case, it is comparing with the values that we have dispatched there, and you are using it here. Okay, so it is checking whenever there is a post fetch request, it is setting the is fetching value to true. That is why whenever you are going back to the browser for a few moments, so if I would make it a slow one, for a few moments you will see there is a loading screen that is showing here. Come on, yes, there is a loading screen, right? That means the is fetching is set to true. Okay, now let's come back to this scenario. Whenever there is a success, then I am dispatching another action type. That is something called post fetch success. And this time in the payload, I am sending whatever data I have received in the response. Okay. Again, I will go back to my reducer file. So there inside this post fetch success, I will define at is fetching to false, and all this all is an empty array inside this our initial state. I have changed this all's value, whatever coming inside the payload. Okay, inside payload, it is all the array of all post is coming here, and that's why it is showing here. Done. And if there is any error, then I'm dispatching another action called post fetch failure, though these have not occurred. But if there is a failure, again I'm disabling the loader, because loader is something which you have to disable to show a error message. Now here I'm setting the is error to true and error message to the action.payload. Done. And by default it will return the default state. So this is a default is something which you have to give in which whenever you are writing a switch case statement, right? So this part is ready. Our reducer is ready, our action creator is ready, our action is ready. So now what we did is that whenever we have whenever the page will load, at that time we have to show the we have to make the API call, right, to fetch the data and update our reducer function. That is why there is a hook called use dispatch in the React Redux library. So we have imported this use dispatch hook inside our app.js. Okay, so that is why from using the use effect hook, it gives us something like life cycle method. Inside this use effect hook, I have dispatched this action called fetch post. It is doing the network call whenever the page is loading for the first time. I have explained this in detail in last session. Okay, and if I would remove, it will occur for every re-render, right? I have shown that already. Okay, so whenever I am doing this use effect, what it is doing, it is again going back to the loop. Okay, so from the views, I am dispatching one action which is going to the dispatcher. It is making the API call. It is again, whenever it is starting the API call, before making the API call, it is sending an action type to the reducer, that is post fetch request. Okay, whenever the success is happening, it is sending a 1 second, it is sending another action type called post fetch success. That is when the reducer is getting updated, and from the reducer is updating the application state. Now what happens when the application state changes? When the application state changes, it is updating the view, right? So what we used to do previously is that whenever we do network call from here in this component, we used to show the data here directly in this component. But as you can see here, I have just imported the file. Here I have not passed whatever data is coming from these fetch post. I have not passed the data inside prop, something like post is equal to post. I have not done that. This component is totally independent of the whole network call. Okay, so you can have 10 different components, and in every component you can get access to the data from the store. That is the beauty of Redux. So whenever I'm dispatching an action, now here I have imported another child component called post list. So what post list has, it is listening to the state changes. Okay, what changes it is listening to? It is only listening to the if something changes in the all post, or if the is fetching post is changing, then only I will update my component. Then only I will re-render my list. Okay, you get the benefit of the Redux, right? You are getting it, right? So here I have made the API call, but I have not passed anything from this component down to this component, right? This component is totally independent, and I have sent nothing down in the wire, right? There is nothing down, there is nothing which is going down inside as a props or something like that. So this component is totally independent. It is listening to the changes, whatever is happening in the global application state. Okay, so this component is listening to these two changes, whether the get all post, okay, which I have defined inside this reducer, which means this all attribute, whether this all attribute is changing or whether this is fetching attribute is changing. Okay, only if these two attributes will change, then only this component will re-render itself. You do not have to do anything explicitly here. Okay, so what I did is that I have used this use selector hook, which is defined inside this React Redux library. It helps us to read values from the Redux store. Then I have imported this to selectors. I have just defined two constants and used these hooks to get the data. As I have already printed the result here inside my console. Okay, and if the data is fetching, if its value is fetching, then I'm showing a loading screen. If not, then I'm returning list of all posts here inside this function, here inside this return statement. So here I'm mapping through all posts. I'm showing the post here. This is pretty simple, this part. This view layer is listening to the state changes and it is updating itself. It is doing only this thing. It is only updating itself depending on the whatever state we have inside our application. Let me quickly create a GitHub repo. Yes, done. Done. Done, guys. So the code is available here. Okay. Subscribe to our channel. That is something which I need. You have to submit a first version of final project, okay, by 22nd of Jan. Then in between 27th to 29th of Jan, after we will, so what we will do is that the coaches will review, will get back to, they will give you feedback or I will give you feedback. Depending on that, we update the code. And in between this 27th, 29th, you present your final project to the industry experts. And then once everything is done, your certificate will be ready. We will be eligible to work on GeoGo's live project. You will get paid internship, and that's all. For this week, what you have to do is that you have to first task is to create is to set up the Redux store in your application. Okay, so go and study Redux. Okay, whatever React part you have completed, after that you go study Redux. And second, you have to add Redux in your project. Once Redux is enabled, make a API call to one of your or APIs. So I will share the API in between. So I will share the API within, I think, Thursday. By Thursday, I will share the API for all of the projects. Okay, so you make your first API call, and you, whatever I did today, you do that part. So the task is simple. Just go study Redux, enable Redux in your project, and I will give one API, do your first API call, and update your Redux store. Okay. Makes sense? Just enable Redux for the project for now. Yes, you have to go and study Redux as well, because there are a lot of things which you have to learn. Maybe I have only covered 50, 20, 30% of Redux. There are a lot to explore. Okay, and in the next session, I will talk about how to structure large applications. On the 22nd, you have to submit the front end. And as I have said, there would be a scope of development on this week. I'm giving you one task, but from the next week, you have to do a lot of work. Okay, because we are doing slow progress, but from the next week onwards, we will move fast. We will try to develop most of the parts in your front end application. Once that part is ready, you can submit that. That is 50% of work is done. That means you are eligible for the certificate. Okay, and if you can do some additional development in backend, means Node API end as well, and you can integrate those APIs, the new APIs that you will create. So I will give you the scopes. Okay, so every new API you create in the backend, and if you can integrate that API in the front end, that means the remaining 50% is complete. Presenting your project is something which is optional, but if you can do that, you are one step ahead than others. If you can submit your project, you will be eligible for the certificate. All right, so as I said, by end of Thursday, I will share the API details. Done. So that is it for today, guys. and then I will come back once again in our discussion session. So this week we will not have any quiz session, but we will have another discussion session on Friday. Okay, so on Friday again the same time at 5:30, like we had in the last week. So I will come for a discussion. If you have any question, then you can ask there regarding your project. That's it. So bye bye everyone. Good night. Thank you for joining.